Hello, everybody. It's me, Roy, with One Day Better. Thank you for being here. So, one of the questions I've been asked recently was if this molestation from my past, um, if it was what made me gay. And so, it was one of those things where I already knew before then um, that I was more attracted to men. Even at the age of 5 and 6 before my molestation happened, um, I was already like more drawn to guys. That it's the only thing I can tell you. There wasn't a word for it. There wasn't a name for it, at least not that I was ever had ever heard. Back in the early 70s. It certainly wasn't what I had noticed and saw on TV. You always saw, um, like Leave It to Beaver or something like that, and it was, June and Ward Cleaver or whatever, male, female. You saw your parents growing up. You saw everybody else, everybody in the neighborhood, everybody else. It was all male, female. But I was like, it was just one of those things where I'm like, okay, well, whatever, you don't think about it. You're still young. So, did the situation that happened to me when I was, 7, 8, did that um, make me gay? No, no. Even though it was a male, my cousin that did this to me, no, that it wasn't what made me gay. I mean, um, uh, again, growing up afterwards, after the molestation. It's sad to say that, sometimes the cycle continues. And it did necessarily in my case as well, because it made me more sexual. It made me go to look to guys for acceptance and to be wanted. And, it opened up that avenue, which of course I wouldn't have ever been, you know, um, involved with previous if I hadn't been molested. At least that I can tell at this point that that's what happened. Is that I would have just been your normal 10-year-old kid or whatever else, and not even thinking about that kind of thing at that point. But because I had been subjected to it, um, then I when I would see porn or something like that, if you would see a dad's video, or something hanging around, or magazines or something like that, flipping through it or whatever else, it was me always, watching the guys. When I was together with some friends and we would watch, a video or something like that, they were all looking at the girls and getting excited about that, but I'm looking at the guy. So again, it wasn't something that happened because I was molested. Again, I was already predisposed to, wanting that, or, looking for that. But where the cycle continued was, I ended up hooking up with another friend of mine that was basically the same age. I mean, I think he was probably like 6 months younger than I was. So again, we were, pretty much, 10 years old. And it started with little baby steps, but then, it became a full-on thing, and it ruined our friendship because, again, at 10 years old, you don't know what you're doing. And that molestation situation from a couple of years earlier just really brought my self-worth down and my self-image down. Again, I was gaining weight at an incredible rate, and not wanting people to really look at me or whatever else. But then when the opportunity arose, and I was, hanging out with a friend of mine, I ended up bringing it up, and you want to try this, or would you be interested in trying this? And then it became a yes. And then after that, every time we got together, it wasn't any friendship involved anymore. It was all just the sex. He wanted me to do these things to him, and it would happen we would get together on average, like maybe 3, 4 times a week, maybe even sometimes more, especially in the very, very beginning. And so, I mean, from year 10, when I was 10 years old, till about 12, I was seeing this kid um, about 3 or 4 times a week. And, it was crazy. And again, it totally ruined our friendship. And I'm really sad about that. And then there was another kid. And again, we were, about a year different apart from each other or something like that. But again, he was a neighborhood guy. He was like, right up the street from me. And I ended up, you know, messing around with him too from 11 to 16. And we would see each other maybe 2, 3 times a week or something. So, I mean, there was even that year and a half in between where I was, year and a half in between where I was kind of seeing them both. And always tried to get all of us together in one little thing, but it just never worked out. But yeah, so the cycle did continue. Unfortunately, it wasn't me like molesting somebody that was younger or something like that, me being older and then, introducing it to somebody that was younger. It was really introducing it to people that were more my age. But again, we had no reason and nothing to really be getting into sexual encounters at that early age. I can understand, when you start getting up to 15, 16, something like that, 16 when I stopped. But I mean, at 10, 11, 12, that was just ridiculously early. And so that's where the pattern kind of continued with me. So unfortunately, it ruined, 2 good childhood friendships. And I mean, it is what it is. I'm not happy about it. I dealt with shame for quite a while, but again, I mean, it's just, um, it's what happened. So it was just me again, telling my story now and living in my truth. And, so when I stopped at the age of 16, I took a step back to really look at my life and say, is this what I want it to be? Is this where I want to, what I want it to be like and what I want to do? And of course, at that time also, AIDS was just kind of like coming to the surface. People were talking about it a lot more. And, it was just a scary time because you couldn't just look things up on the internet. The internet wasn't around at that point, and or certainly in its very, very infancy. So, I mean, it was like you could just look up answers. You wouldn't go to the library or something at, 15, 16 years old and start asking questions about, HIV and AIDS and whatever else. So, I mean, it was just a very scary time. And so I decided to stop. And really, I remained abstinent for 13 years, which is really crazy. But yeah, I remained abstinent for quite a while until I broke down and finally started, letting my hair down a little bit, so to speak. But, at that point, I was at least much older to be able to, understand it better. But again, it wreaked its havoc on me because I could never have like a regular relationship. I've only ever had like one serious boyfriend in the past. And, other than that, it was always lots of really good friends. And I would never really break down enough to let somebody in. I just kept everything bottled up and just kept myself safe and kept myself in a little bubble, so that I wouldn't have to experience a lot of the different things that, would stem from this. So it took a long time for me to really get better and get used to talking about it, telling people about it, being a little bit more open about it. So that's a portion of my story of what happened afterwards. And that's, what's kind of led me onto this journey of my life, and, to look back in the perspective that I have now and try to help other people as much as I possibly can. Because again, it's still that pink elephant in the room, and, you don't have a lot of people really talking about it. And you don't seem to, and certainly looking online or whatever else, I see other people where my heart goes out to them, because obviously they're coming forward and they're telling their story. But shoot, I have yet to see one with a guy that talks about it. I just haven't seen it yet, because it seems like everybody else that I'm seeing, it's all women, coming forward, girls coming forward, telling their story, and their situation. So I don't know, but the only thing I can say is, bringing it out into the light and sharing it with everybody is just my way to continue to help everybody try to get one day better. So if this helps, if you like my content, then please hit like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, so you don't miss any of my videos from the future, and share this with as many people as you think this may help. Because I'm just a small channel and I want to make a difference in this world. So I'm continuing to make these videos, so far on a daily basis, so that I can really try to break free the barriers, give people a channel to come and watch and kind of learn a little bit, see a little bit, kind of understand a little bit of, what it's like. So thank you all so much again for being here. I love you all. In light and love. Have a great and blessed day.